This is Thomas Lyons for Raps on TV here at Stonebridge Amateur Boxing Club. Fortunate to be joined by one of their prosperous elite amateurs coming through the ranks. Do you want to introduce yourself to the platform?
Yeah, well, my name's Jamal Cuffy Campbell. Everyone just calls me Cuffy in the gym, so that's what I go by. And yeah, pleasure to be here, man.
Yeah, how are you doing today?
Yeah, very well. Just finished a good session, so I'm feeling good, and yeah, man, I'm good, thank you.
Awesome, man. Be keeping tabs on your progression so far. Raps on TV, obviously getting an insight into the amateur boxers today from Stonebridge Boxing Club. Jamel, just starting off, your backstory in boxing, how you first got introduced to the club. Where did it all start and where's the journey begun?
Well, where do I start? I mean, for me, I initially started boxing before I boxed for Stonebridge. I boxed for Norfolk Amateur Boxing Club. I first got into boxing. I've always been a fighter since I was young. It's something I've always, whether wrong or on the right, I've always found myself in a bit of a mix. But yes, I've always had a passion for fighting. I've done a bit of kickboxing when I was very young. Gradually that faded out over the years. Coming from the background I come from, you find yourselves kind of, straight off the straight and narrow. I found myself in a bit of trouble growing up. As I said, always in and out of fighting. And then one day, I had a friend who was boxing for Norfolk Boxing Club. And at the time, I was doing like one day a week at a local gym with Luigi Leo. And it was only one day a week. It wasn't really keeping me sustained. So my friend came along and said, listen, if you want, come down, try out Norfolk, see how you find it. So I said, why not? Went down there, had a good session, lovely environment, lovely coach, lovely people, and I just loved the energy and the overall feel of being in an actual proper boxing gym. So from that day, I spoke to the coach. I said, listen, I want to fight. I love to fight. As the story goes, he said, if you show me in 6 weeks that you're ready to fight and you're fit enough to fight, I'll put you in the ring. So I shook his hand. I said, no, we've got a deal, no problem, 5 weeks later, I stepped in the ring. I showed him I was ready. He put me in the ring. My first fight, I boxed for the Northwest London Division Championship. And I stepped in there, put in a good performance. I got the win, and from that day forward, I just never looked back. I stayed in the gym. I put my head down, and for me, it was a chance to do something productive and positive, and take a skill that I have in fighting and do it for something for the right reasons, and I never looked back. And so that's how my boxing career began.
I respect you for that, man. Obviously, it's kind of mad to see the progression you made in such a short period of time.
Definitely.
Looking in tremendous shape.
Thank you.
Training hard, obviously, and packed out gym today.
Always.
You talked about the energy, how that's transpired onto just the ordinary person that's walked into the gym. Since you've joined Stonebridge Boxing Club, how, if you were to sum up, say, to people that haven't come to the club that would like to get into boxing, and seen Stonebridge as a club, how would you kind of sum up the energy, the environment here?
It's like no other. It's like no other, honestly. All I can say is from my experience of joining the club. When I first joined Stonebridge Boxing Club, I started boxing in 2015 for Norfolk. I boxed for one season. I found myself in a bit of a situation. I was injured. I was out the ring for quite some time. In the time frame that I was out, like they say, the devil makes work for idle hands. And I found myself in a few predicaments, kept me out the ring for a bit longer. I was then stabbed 3 times, which hindered my comeback to the ring. I always knew boxing was what I wanted to do, but sometimes, unfortunately, circumstances in life, they put hurdles in the way, and it's if you're dedicated enough and strong enough to either push forward through it, or you're going to give in to unfortunately some of the troubles that life throws at you. Something I wasn't willing to do. I was then blessed enough and fortunate enough to have the birth of my daughter, my little girl.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. And from that day, I knew that I had to be better and do better, and settling for where I was wasn't an option. Not for me, because it's not about myself no more. I have a young child to look after, and I mean, she's my world. Nothing I wouldn't do for her. So I began the path of slowly, sorting my situation out, getting back on track.
Yeah.
As I said, I knew boxing was what I wanted to do, so I looked at making a return to the ring, return to training, and getting back in shape. And I knew boxing. I knew Stonebridge to be a quite a reputable gym, and I knew I needed a new challenge, somewhere that was tough, could whip me into shape and keep me focused and grounded. So I came down, I gave it a try. From the day that I stepped in the ring, into the gym, like I said, it's like no other. The atmosphere, very serious, very tough. The coaches, what I can say about the coaches is very tough, but they give 110% for their boxers, very dedicated, and I could sense that from them from the get-go. So I came, I had a session, and I went away for a little bit, and then I had to sort out a few things. And I came back. Like I said, stepped in, same thing again, and I knew this was the right place. I knew it was the time. I knew it was a perfect fit for me, and I never looked back, and I've been here ever since. So to answer your question on the actual, atmosphere of the gym, we work hard, we train hard. It's more than just a boxing club. This place, for me personally, has changed my life. It's given me something to work towards. We have a sense of, it's not just a gym, it's not just a team, it's like a family, and it's like a very strong unit. We're like brothers, we train hard with each other, blood, sweat, tears, laughs, joy, you name it, but we're in every day, we train hard. The coaches, like I say, give 110%, and we as the fighters try to reciprocate that by going out there, putting in good fights, and showing them that the work they're putting into us pays off, So yeah, lovely place to be, lovely place.
The mixture of emotions, obviously, having gone into the gym, the trials, tribulations, the highs, the lows, everyone kind of goes through that in ordinary day life. You've obviously touched on there, having experienced that, it's not nice to see, because there's young people out there that have lost a sense of direction. You've obviously fueled that into a positive, come to the gym, got a young daughter to provide for.
Correct.
And the respect kind of comes from that, because you're setting the benchmark for these people to, I've got a family now. You've experienced that stuff on the streets, but to actually use it as a positive, as opposed to saying, look, the narrative behind whatever it is out there, youth violence, knife crime, however you want to label it, that there is a positive within sport, within everyday life. Boxing for you has obviously made you tick, coming to Stonebridge Boxing
Most
Club.
definitely.
Encapsulating that, talking about the environment within the gym, we obviously touched on, Tox mentioned it, mentors, teachers that can actually look at these young people and say, look, there is a direction that you can go down. Mentioned to Adam as well, previously, one of the elite boxers, he was talking about how sort of, coming to the gym, you've got to be 100% mentally prepared,
definitely,
physically prepared. I mean, you're not lacking on that.
We're getting there, yeah.
But yeah, man. Obviously, just touching on obviously the mental, physical equilibrium in boxing. How important is it for you to maintain level-headed, stable, and maintain that balance while you're training?
I think, definitely, it's pivotal. I think, if anything, it's obviously training is physically taxing on the body, and you have to be in the right shape. But if anything, mentally is just as important, if not more important. I think in every aspect of life, and especially with boxing, when you step in the ring, your health is always at a risk. It's always at jeopardy, should I say. There's always a chance that anything could go wrong. So when you're in the ring, you have to be focused, you have to be switched on. And that comes from your training. It comes from the discipline that's instilled in you within the training. Even just to make it through the sessions, we train very hard to come in every single day, day in, day out, train, put your body through the wars and through the trenches. You have to be mentally tough. You have to be prepared in this sport. You can't be 98%. You have to be 100%, and I think first and foremost it starts with the mind. If your mind is not strong in this game, if you're not mentally strong and aware of what the challenges ahead of you are, and you're not prepared mentally to go through them, I find it hard how you will make it. So I think that's why they say hats off to everyone who steps in the gym, gives it a rule, because it is hard, and sometimes you may feel like you want to quit. Sometimes you have bad days, you have bad sessions, but that's where that mental toughness kicks in. Just like if you was in the 8th round, 9th, 10th round, you know, those championship rounds, it comes down to your mentality. How strong are you mentally to stay strong and keep going and giving it your all? So definitely, yeah, I think that balance is needed. But your mind has to be very strong in this game.
Yeah, Jamel, talking about your amateur pedigree so far, touched on there the first time you stepped in the ring.
Yeah.
Must have been like an element of like, you know, fear, but not even that, but like probably, I mean, just describe to me kind of being in the ring, what it makes.
I mean, for me, you know, I love boxing. You know, I genuinely love boxing. You know, with all my heart. You know, I'm to an extent that I'm almost lost for words. I don't know how much to say, how much I love this and what it's done for me for my life. You know, when I first started boxing, it gave me a sense of belonging, a sense of worth. You know, something positive. I'd go in the gym, and that was my happy place. You know, I was at my happiest when I was in the gym. When I was training, I was with the lads who was putting the work. No matter how tough it was or how hard it was, I loved every second of it, every minute of it. You know, getting ready for fights, preparing, going down with your team. You know, you weigh in, you eat, you get ready, you look around, see who you're going to be fighting. I loved it. I embraced every second of it. So I think, obviously, before you fight, you're wondering how you're going to perform, are you going to do well? But I took it in, and, you know, that walk to the ring, when you know it's your time, you come out, you step out, and, you know, it's time for you to step in that ring, face your opponent. For me, it was like everything else switches off. You know, the outside world is non-existent. It's me, my opponent, and the mission at hand. And for me, that feeling, there's no better feeling. There was no better feeling for me than stepping in the ring, in between those ropes. You face off with your opponent, may the best man win. So I loved every second of it. I embrace it. Yeah. And yeah, my first fight, like I said, it was a big challenge. I was fighting for a championship straight away. But like I said, it's about rising to the occasion in this game, you know, and I wanted to be the best. So I was willing to do whatever I needed to do to be the best, fight the best. So I looked at the challenge with open arms. I accepted it, and I boxed a good fight. I boxed smart. I boxed a good fight. I was very, you know, I was impressed, so to speak, at the end. You know, you know, I was happy that I was able to use some of the things that I learned in training, implement it, see how it works in an actual real game, because it's different to sparring. You know, stepping in the ring and fighting for real. So yeah, so I just enjoyed it. You know, I took it in my stride. I had all my family support, and my friends came down to support. So I loved the atmosphere. Well, you know, we'll get to that hopefully at one stage. But yeah, definitely, I got a lot of support, and yeah, I think I definitely enjoyed it, and it's definitely a beautiful feeling. You can't put words on it. When you step in the ring, as you would know as a boxer, yeah, every boxer would know that feeling, definitely.
Touch on the transition from the amateurs to the pros. In your personal aspirations in the sport, in terms of maybe a long-term objective, 12 to 18 months, where do you see yourself?
So at the moment, I recently just boxed in the ABAs. I was a London finalist. You know, I'd previously suffered an injury in my shoulder, which kind of hindered my preparation for the competition. Given that I was out the ring, as I said previously, that I had an injury, I was out the ring for some time. So for me, this year was a big year to get back into the sport, to make a statement, get my name out there and show the world my skills and my capabilities, because I saw it as my last year as an amateur. So I wanted to go out and win these titles, win these championships, in hope of turning pro later on this year. So for me, my aspirations now, I've had good experience in the amateurs. I would have liked to have a few more fights. You know, unfortunately, it wasn't how it went. But I've had a good few. I've had a good learning experience. So now for me, it's about taking it to the next level, to the next stage. So I'm in recovery at the moment with my shoulder. And as soon as I'm back and I'm fit and ready to train 100%, I'll be in preparation and getting my body where it needs to be physically, so then I can hopefully go and turn over and turn pro, hopefully soon, and show the world what I have to offer. Yeah,
turning over pro, following the footsteps of Mikel Lawal. Touching there, had him on the hot spot on the chair.
Okay.
Talked about his rise through the cruiserweight division. Just on yourself, what weight category are you looking to maybe peak at as you're like most comfortable?
Well, initially I boxed at amateur. I boxed at 81 kilograms when I first started. I now box at 86 kilos. Okay. So I feel when I turn over, I probably could tighten up and drop a little bit. So we'll see how my body adapts, whether fighting in between 81 and 86 kilos. So I see myself probably light heavyweight would probably be best for me, a suitable fit turning over. So yeah, but we'll see how we adjust.
Yeah, looks good, looks promising. Light heavyweight the other day, Joshua Buatsi.
Yeah.
Popped up to the gym.
Yeah.
Probably uneven, unknown. Like, you know, people probably thought, you know, what's Joshua Buatsi doing here? Valuable rounds with Mikel Lowell. A few other fighters stepped in the ring there.
Correct.
Having someone like Joshua Buatsi, I've seen in previous weeks, we've had WBC flyweight champion Charlie Edwards come down to the gym. Two-time world champion James DeGale, now in his retirement stage of just life in general, but having achieved so much in the sport. Having these guys in the gym at the top of their game, looking at the elite level, how much of this inspiration, how much motivation does this give you to replicate their successes?
It's a true inspiration. To see the likes of these people who have, you know, like us, started from the bottom, and it shows you that anything is possible. And to rub shoulders and to see them, you know, face to face and next to you, it makes everything that you're dreaming to accomplish and you're working for every single day, it makes it seem, you know, ever so more real, you know, ever so more realistic, should I say. So yeah, it's definitely lovely to see them, listen to them, you know, learn from them, hear their experiences and their advice that they can offer you. And like I said, just seeing them in the flesh just shows, you know, they're human, we're human. If you work hard enough and you put your all into it, you can reach those same level of accomplishments, you know. So definitely it's lovely to have those guys around.
Last word, Jamel, the ultimate goal for you, world champion?
100%. 100%. You know, I believe in my abilities. I know that, you know, everything in life happens for a reason, and I can't wait. All I can say is just sit tight and we'll be showing the world soon enough what we have to offer. 100%.
We'll be there every step of the way, supporting you, giving you a platform to expose yourself, and, you know, looking at the positives.
Definitely.
Have to respect you, man. Hats off to you from where you came from. Now, obviously, I can imagine your daughter's so proud of you, setting the benchmark, and just where